Hello there, everybody. Great to have you back for another edition of the Night Mind Candy Bowl. Please pardon my appearance. I decided to get a little bit festive and reference one of the lesser celebrated parts of Halloween VHS video schlock. Lazy, dusty-looking animation you can't stand to watch for more than 5 minutes. It's just like Scooby-Doo, or Charlie Brown if you're getting a bad signal while watching over TV. But there's no Great Pumpkin coming tonight. It's just me and all the monsters and the Halloween treats I've brought along for you to enjoy. Candy Bowl has always been a bit of a Halloween variety hour on the channel, sometimes with a bit of a theme, and with anticipation of being a showcase for awesome original premieres by creators I've met through my work. Tonight, I'm very proud to announce that I have not just one, but 2 world premieres for you all to see. And believe me, they're nothing like anything I've ever shown you before. I feel honored to have such talent to put forward. But before we get to that, we need to see everything I've collected for this year's Gallery of Oddities. And similar to the last Candy Bowl, I have a bit of a theme tying them together. Quite often I receive tips telling me to check out something that is pretty great, but doesn't really make the full cut when it comes to what qualifies for a video. Often I'm given leads that show off something that seems to be ongoing or hasn't quite ended yet, but has gone cold for a surprising amount of time. Tonight, we're leaving the party room to go on a journey exploring both of these types of viewer recommendations. The dead and the famous, all in one place. Don't get scared now. We're about to embark on the first ever Internet Ghost Tour.
Does anybody else feel at home in graveyards? I find them kind of wonderful myself. There's a unique sort of fascination that stirs inside you when visiting the dead or relics of a long-forgotten past. Not knowing very much about where you are or what you're seeing besides how old it is makes the atmosphere even stronger. The same kind of feeling follows you online when viewing certain websites or projects that have been left for dead. When it comes to the internet, the fascination grows deeper. You're dealing with something a person made, leaving only the pieces they managed to create before vanishing. Not much of a clue about why it was made, what inspired them, where they went, and not many leads to follow up on when it comes to the content you found. I've been asked by viewers to cover the Dionaea House more times than I can count. This website from 2004 is very much in the vein of web series content I've reviewed, but took the only form possible to convey its story at the time of creation. Dionaea House has mystified the online world for a while, mainly through the fact that someone took time to build something like this. It's surprisingly simple for something so talked about online. A white website page with a header, a space for text, a button to proceed, and copyright information. The first entry is a message from the site creator, Eric, written on October 7, 2004, addressing Jennifer and friends and family of Mark. As promised, here are copies of the correspondence I received from Mark over the course of the last month. For the most part, I have merely copied and pasted them from my email application. As you'll read, he requested this in hopes that you'll better understand why he did what he did. I made this site because it's the most efficient way to share Mark's emails with all of you. I'm not advertising this to anyone, but I do think it would be wise to pass this URL along to anyone who may help with the investigation. As I collect more information from various sources, I'll update this site to keep an accurate record. I'll have that link at the end of the series as well. If you need to speak with me, Jen has my number. Thank you for your patience, and again, I am profoundly sorry. Eric. The following pages contain precisely what Eric stated. Emails between himself and Mark Condry, and much later in the timeline, text messages copied from Eric's phone sent by Mark during his investigation of a certain frightening house. The end of the story pertaining to Mark's investigation into the house leads us to the update page Eric is managing, which chronicles online response from readers while he conducts his own detective work. Information comes in from helpful readers while Eric fails to maintain a friendship with Jennifer, Mark's girlfriend. Through updates provided by Eric, we're given related storytelling trails in the form of blogs and AIM chat logs. The concept of such spread out information may give you worries about keeping everything cohesive, kind of like with Everyman Hybrid, but the formatting by Eric makes it a very easy journey. You need only read the AIM log and visit 3 blogs, which don't last very long independently. Dionaea House is essentially a creepypasta before the advent of creepypasta, and it's been formatted in a way that feels much more real and personal than most creepypasta stories. Each page pulls you deeper in, building a real atmosphere and giving off a strong haunted house mystery vibe that works beautifully for a night like this. I'm only sharing as few details as I can get away with. Like most of what I enjoy bringing to light for you, this is best explored on your own once we're all done here. Just follow the natural order of pages and links as they appear, and you won't lose your way inside this 13-year-old haunted website mansion. Speaking of haunted websites, Let's take a trip to a site where there aren't any visible headstones to read, but there just might be some bodies lying under our feet. Have any of you ever heard of Blind Maiden? This is an online urban legend about a website with a very specific entryway. If you ever go to blindmaiden.com, you'll find that the link doesn't lead anywhere. It's just an empty site parked by a hosting service, but people say that it has a deep well of content. It's a gateway to the source of ultimate horror. The catch is that you've got to be very fast if you want to enter, and very willing. You must put the address into your browser at exactly midnight, the very stroke of the second that takes us from one day into the next, and not by hour clocks, but by celestial patterns. You need to strike at the very center point between sunset and sunrise. You must also be alone, with all of the lights in your home turned off. If you make it, you'll find a website with a series of rapidly shifting pictures that show children screaming in pain and horror, all of whom have had their eyes torn out of their heads. A message will greet you below it, stating, "This website will take you to a whole new level of horror, a horror that will use all 5 of your senses. You must be very careful not to click on anything by accident. You will be faced with a real experience of absolute horror. Click the Accept button to engage actively in the experience." You are provided 2 buttons, Accept and Decline. If you try declining, you'll be struck with a gallery of pictures like those you just saw flashing across the homepage, but now showing the moment of death for each victim. Accepting the invitation, however, will present the live stream showing a woman slowly approaching the camera. The figure continues walking forward, cast in darkness, and seems to pass through the recording device. Anyone who visits the site will sense a presence in the home now. The Blind Maiden has arrived. A light tap on the shoulder will be felt after a very uncomfortable amount of time spent sitting in darkness, knowing the spirit is approaching. Those who are visited must not turn to look at the maiden. Her face is apparently so horrifying, it's beyond the reality of this world, and will drive a person forever mad. So what do you do if you can't look at her? How do you survive this visit? Instructions aren't really out there. Most people end up as victims. But there is word that surviving the challenge requires looking at the maiden, staring into the empty eye sockets, and not making a sound. If you do this, perhaps, you will complete the encounter and continue to live. If you don't go insane, of course. And yeah, this is a creepypasta story for sure. But it's kind of cool, right? A bit of a light, silly scare on our way to the next real stop for the ghost tour. Another location I've been asked about for years. Ted's Caving Page. This is a journey very similar in nature to Dionaea House, describing the exploration of a cave system by, you guessed it, a man named Ted. He made an Angel Fire blog in 2001 to document his progress navigating the cave and took some friends along. Pictures are shared along with text pages marking the journey, and it's not too long before Ted starts coming across some very odd things in this very dark place. For a time, this was a very inventive use of internet resources to tell a story, and I can appreciate Ted's Caving Page a lot. It seemed to set a precedent for the scary cave dive story type that's been around for a few years now, which many creepypastas are based on. Unfortunately, because it really is the kickoff point for a tale we all know quite well, it's not a cave we want to go diving into anymore. Especially because there are now pop-up ads and website plugins that attack you on every single page going through it, even punching their way through pop-up blockers you might have installed. We'll consider this online gravesite to be the kind that's overrun with brambles and there are just way too many spiders. But if you want to arm up on pop-up blockers and plugin stoppers, be my guest and take a look. And now, let's head to the kind of place where you're likely to go insane before hitting anything that feels like solid ground. I was told about a page on Tumblr around a year ago called Komaeda Love Mail. Apparently, Komaeda comes from a game series called Danganronpa, which is about Japanese high school students being kidnapped by an evil force and made to survive a locked room-style murder mystery, while also being forced to continuously kill each other and get away with it, until there's only one killer or successful detective left alive. It doesn't appear that Komaeda's character, personality, or the Danganronpa series actually have anything to do with this Tumblr, even though the writer uses the name and images of Komaeda to roleplay as the author. It first appeared on January 5th, 2015, and the Internet Wayback Machine has the first screenshot archived from March 12th. Posts by the blog show there was heavy roleplay as an extremely positive, loving, supportive Komaeda, using his image along with messages. It was said that there were 12 mods running the blog under the info section. On July 5th, it said, "There are no mods running this blog," and showed a rest in peace image for Komaeda. The Komaeda writer also seemed to be undergoing rapid personality changes and sharing odd bits of poetry. Komaeda now disperses into many other tinier Komaedas. The main Komaeda has dissolved, much like a flower spreading its pollen. Checking the Tumblr's archive shows that posting stopped in May of 2015, with the final post around this time talking about how Komaeda kind is thriving, even though you may think it has turned its back on you. It stayed quiet for just over a year, suddenly reappearing in July of 2016. During the return, it looked like this, and claimed that 28 mods are running this blog. Then in October, it looked like this, claiming 34 mods are running the blog, and none of them are responsive anymore. The next month, 401 mods took over the blog, and in the bottom left corner, you could spot a message. Hey, do you see this? Click me. I'm going to be found out soon enough. Clicking on the link gave us this page, inciting us to click on Komaeda and make him pay, which made his image shrink and produced a new message underneath each time, urging us to destroy him. Going through with it by clicking him out of existence brings us this odd message. That's enough. I'm sorry for making you do my dirty work. Please, don't hate me for this. Clicking on that new small Komaeda brings us to a page name classified in the tab header and seems to be emails between the different Komaedas running the blog? Talking about growing crops. Okay. The December 2016 edition of Komaeda's blog saw a return to form, using one of the old wallpapers and images for Komaeda. It now said, 45 mods run this blog. Perhaps there was a purge of Komaedas that weren't working out. From here, it just keeps getting crazier, adding pages under navigation with odd and even poetic titles, inserting hidden links in the lower left-hand corner again, and changing the mood and appearance of the blog. My favorite form of Komaeda is the clown-obsessed version, which has appeared a few times. Here's a screenshot from April 20th of this year. Right now, Komaeda seems to be exploring a new obsession with horses. One of his, or their, considering it's always multiple Komaedas lately. Well, one of the new pages anyway, leads to a NeoCities page showing tons of links. It seems to be a catalog by someone detailing all the additional pages ever produced by Komaeda's blog in order during activity phases. There's a lot of material here. Really, this is some type of internet wonderland, and often it feels as if you're in danger of clicking on a link that's going to cause your immediate death by jump scare. Links will lead to other links, which lead to other links, all of them custom pages within the Komaeda universe. It's like a Russian stacking doll. Every new room has another room inside. Cracking the Komaeda mystery would take quite a few hours of research at the very least, and even then, I'm not sure you would make serious progress. This thing works like some kind of uncontained SCP living online, trying to be an obscene mix of so many different things you would normally find on Tumblr. If you want to be amazed, confused, disturbed, scared, and overall intrigued, Komaeda Love Mail can make your Halloween night. This thing is just uncommonly weird. Our final stop when it comes to website tombstones is a highly appropriate one, Frightbytes.com. This is an old-style site that's apparently been up since 1998, and it describes itself as a virtual haunt featuring horror entertainment set in various spooky virtual settings with scary images and spooky sounds. Halloween adventure for all ages and open year-round. Explore an evil haunted house, a sinister carnival of terror, haunted asylum, fight zombies and explore virtual haunted inn all with multiple paths and endings. Spooky graphics and creepy scary sounds add to horror. You'll also find true ghost stories, horror quotes, superstitions and omens, an oracle, fortune teller, Halloween history, mazes, spooky bobbleheads, information on Ouija boards and hauntings, and more evil fun. Over the years, it's been updated to fit more modern coding into the site, but overall, it seems to be doing its best to keep the old website layout. Everything described at the bottom of the page can be found, along with much more. I don't think there's anything meta or crazy happening here. No underlying stories or mysteries. This is honestly just a really cool collection of throwbacks and spooky internet material resembling what you might have grown up with back during your school years. I think it's fun. Moving on, we head to deeper graveyards, where our favorite topic lies, dead web series. I usually like to hold on to video series in the hopes that I can perform in-depth coverage on them, because they might show signs of coming back to life, or turn out to be fantastic work that deserves a full dissection. But sometimes I receive leads to things that just don't seem like they'll be pulling a zombie act anytime soon, or ever again. I could be wrong, but as far as these next tour stops go, the dead are going to remain underground. Do you like reality-bending books? How about dimensional travel? Do you like monsters, mysterious symbols on human bodies, and confusing meta plotlines? Don't worry, I'm not making a joke about Everman Hybrid. This time, I'm talking about a channel called The Riddle of the Tree Man from August of 2015. It's a bit difficult to say just what this series is actually about, besides mentioning the hints I just gave. We have two college-age guys meeting up at a diner to talk about a box that contains a very valuable book. This book ends up taking them to another dimension the moment they open the box, where they're plagued by the reappearance of road signs again and again, as well as something, or someone, which seems to be following them around. Things become really interesting when it's revealed the owner of the channel just might be a man who is trying to make a movie, resulting in a series of events that are even crazier than the film he was shooting. Going through these videos, it's very clear that Riddle of the Tree Man is wearing its influences on its sleeve, but there's praiseworthy departure from being yet another Slenderman series or copycat act at every turn. Some of the visual tricks pulled are also worth checking out, and overall, it's a cool bit of territory for seeing what someone was trying to get off the ground for a while. An equally small web series that's very cool is one I'd been really hoping eventually would crawl out of the grave, but I've accepted that it's more than likely never coming back. Dogwood was such a promising channel, taking us on a journey that involved plenty of Marble Hornets feelings, but explored new areas, concepts, and monster appearances. It starts very simply and with a real bang. Our protagonist uploads the first video from an SD card sent to him by a mysterious stranger found inside of a new camera. The note that came along with it read, "I saw you had an interest in film and photography. I don't have much need for this camera anymore. Charlie." The man who received Charlie's gift examined the SD card and found a folder on it named Dogwood, filled with 10 videos. What follows is footage of stalking, hiding, kidnapping, and paranormal events I've never really seen used before in a web series. The videos found on the SD card prompt the man who received them to go on his own journey investigating what he witnessed, and it's all just... it's good. It's really good. It's a fun time I don't want to spoil, and I'm sure many of you will feel equally disappointed that it's not coming back to life. But for the pure sake of seeing something this cool, it's worth checking out. And finally, we visit a legendary gravesite in this territory. Web series have actually been around about as long as YouTube has, and before Marble Hornets really made waves, there were channels catching eyes and even making headlines in ways that mystified and shocked people. Here lies the channel Louise Paxton, where videos were uploaded as part of a series about a missing woman in London during April of 2007. This was one of the real original, person experiencing weird trouble vlogs about it channels, showing off evidence of what Louise believed to be a stalker. The account was taken over by family members after Louise disappeared, who wrote in the About section, "If you have any information regarding Louise's disappearance, please contact us through this channel or via the Louise Paxton website." Louise moved to London in April 2007 with the hopes of any 23-year-old girl. A new house, a new start in the big city. She had her whole life ahead of her. Soon after moving in, she became the victim of a campaign of terror orchestrated by an unknown stalker. After being terrorized for 2 months, she disappeared from her home on the 1st of July. We are now calling for anyone who might have any information regarding Louise's disappearance to come forward. This is a personal appeal from her friends and family. If you are reading this, Lou, we haven't forgotten about you. We won't stop looking for you until you are found. Our prayers are with you. We love you and miss you. If you are able to, please get in touch. This is a great gem of web series history. It was a big controversial piece back in 2007, stirring up all sorts of trouble as people genuinely believed that Louise Paxton had gone missing. Not only were there videos on her personal channel showing things weren't okay, there was a website made that played up the story. Really, it was all fiction, as these cases usually turn out to be, and discovered shortly after the hysteria began that Louise Paxton was actress Zoe Richards, who specialized in horror movies. The creator of the Paxton videos was also the director for a movie called The Torment, in which Zoe Richards plays a role. For whatever reason, the videos from the original Louise Paxton channel are all unavailable, which is very odd considering that it's still possible to see the video thumbnails. Usually, you get an indication you won't be seeing the content in this situation. Thankfully, someone has put together all of the videos and released them as one big movie, so you can relive web series history without issue. As with everything else covered here, I'll put the link in the description so you can check that out. And now, the moment you've all been waiting for. Since I began Nightmind, I've wanted to be a platform that not only covers media in existence that's great enough to share with the world, but one that presents amazing new pieces first, giving creators a chance to make original work that's seen by a wide audience. Knowing I can do this now with Candy Bowl is extremely satisfying and exciting. Last year, I premiered an original short film by Nick Spheres titled Driver. This year, I have not one, but 2 original videos to premiere, both by creators I'm incredibly proud to work with and celebrate. You might have noticed that my current form might look a little bit familiar. Maybe just a bit similar in art style to something that's come before. That is no accident. This artwork comes as a personal gift from the creators of our first Candy Bowl 2017 world premiere. Creatures of the Night, I am very proud to introduce to you all, from the team behind the latest Night Vision inductee, Cat Ghost, a Halloween piece titled Mono. Please enjoy.
I know it's hard to understand the way I feel about you, baby. I want to hold your hand and know the person inside. I know your scowl's just a mask that you put on to scare me, please. But I can't help but smile when you try to push me out. The more you run away from me, the more my heart needs you near. I'll let you in this time, but I'm coming for you. You're a sweet little gift, all wrapped up just for me. Won't you show me what's inside? Can't I have a little peek? If you're nervous, that's okay. We can take it slowly. I wanna get to know you more. Don't you want to know me? I know you haven't got a clue. It's only you and me now, baby. I've kept my distance for so long, always 2 steps behind. I've let you run away again, but now my heart needs you near. I'm gonna make you mine, and I'm coming for you. You're just a jigsaw puzzle. I wanna tear you apart and put you back together like my brand new work of art. If you're nervous, that's okay. I'll cut away your fear. We can take it slowly. Slice a grin from ear to ear. Oh, your hands are trembling, dear. You're gonna make me swoon. I know the pain you're feeling as your mind splits into cookie and oh so sweet, tongue as sharp as nails. Baby, I'm going crazy over your gargling wells. No need to cry, my darling. I'll sew you up in time, put you back together. I finally made you mine. No one will ever know you like I do. But tell me, dear, are these stitches too much for you?
Nothing says love like wearing your sweetheart on your sleeve, right? Sometimes, quite literally. I hope you enjoyed that bloody Halloween Valentine from the creators of Cat Ghost. Hopefully it didn't make you too sick to enjoy our next piece, especially because, as a completionist, it settles a personal bit of grief I have with this year's Halloween videos. You see, in Monster Hunt 2016, I set the precedent for having 4 monsters to track down. This year, unfortunately, I could only cover 3. But then I realized that wasn't right. There was a 4th monster. He just couldn't make it. Until tonight. Once again, I'm incredibly proud to present to you all a Candy Bowl 2017 world premiere created by writer and director Grayson Whitehurst. Creatures of the Night. It's my great pleasure to introduce you to The Threat.
Before your funeral, and your coffin lid is closed. Before you are buried, and your flesh turns cold. Before you are covered with the last shovelful of dirt, be sure you are really dead.
Michael Myers and John Carpenter's Halloween. Then it was Freddy Krueger and Wes Craven's A Nightmare on Elm Street. This Halloween, it's something much, much worse. A creature so vile, so insidious, it might even be watching you at this very moment. This Halloween, don't fall asleep. But if you do, just remember, if you can survive the dream, you can survive the threat.
Just kill me!
If you can survive the dream, you can survive the threat.
And just like that, we have arrived at the end of another Candy Bowl special, and another Halloween season. November is approaching, and we must move on, even as the autumn leaves continue to turn and fall and the air grows colder. But don't be sad. This has been one of the greatest Octobers I've ever had the pleasure to experience, and it only makes me far more motivated for next year. It's been one hell of a party, and I hope you feel the same. Major thanks to the creators of Cat Ghost for their contribution, Mono, and to Grayson Whitehurst and his team for contributing The Threats. Links for project and contact pages will be provided in the video description. If any of you are hungry for more Candy Bowl and you're a new subscriber since last October, you can always check out my 2016 edition, featuring Nick Sphere's short film premiere, Driver. And of course, if you missed out on the other October videos from last year, the first SCP Vault and Monster Hunt, they're available as well. Thank you all so much for making this a very special, very strong October on Night Mind. I've never had the opportunity to be as ambitious and production heavy as I was this year, and I owe it all to you, especially my supporters on Patreon. Without their backing, none of this would have been possible, and I appreciate it immensely. Stick around to see the names of all these creatures of the night who made Halloween on Night Mind a real party this year. That's all for tonight, everyone. Thanks again for joining me in the dark this evening, and for joining me on yet another Halloween. The most wonderful time of the year truly is the best now, thanks to all of you. Once more, I'm Nick Nocturne, and just like the thrill of a new October season, I'll be seeing you again real soon. Sleep tight, and have a very happy Halloween.